Hello, how's everybody doing out there? YDBT Daily, coming at you, another YDBT Daily. That's right, I wanted to go live today because tomorrow I got some stuff going on, some dental work, so I probably won't be able to talk for a couple of days. But it just so happens that you get a bunch of rumors swirling that a mid-engine Mustang is to be announced or unveiled tomorrow on Thursday. The Pebble Beach, I think, show is going on. So Ford with Multimatic. And again, guys, you can be excited because it is a Mustang, but if Multimatic is building it, it's basically going to be a street legal GT3 style car. Now, what is the biggest excitement about? It is the fact that it's going to be mid-engine. Now, that tells me that it's over $100,000, right? Multimatic's building it, mid-engine, over $100,000. So for those of you that thought you were going to get a light-to-light bruiser, all-wheel drive, a hybrid thing, no, this is a millionaire's car. This is a low-run, very expensive, non-Ford built. Again, just like the Ford GT was built by Multimatic, this thing is going to be built by Multimatic. And if you are not familiar with Multimatic and if you're not into road racing things, I don't blame you because it is absolutely boring as shit. But the company is legit. If they built the Ford GT, basically the car is going to have a Ford platform in terms of engine, maybe transmission. But everything else around it is more than likely going to be one-off stuff. And again, because it's being built by Multimatic, it might be decent. For those of you that thought it's going to be something that you're going to be able to buy, I think you're being way too optimistic if you think you're actually going to be able to buy this vehicle. Remember when the Ford GT came out? The Ford GT came out and you had to apply to buy it. Remember that? Everybody was making all these videos saying, hey, if you want your chance to purchase a Ford GT, then guess what? You're going to have to be chosen, and then you're going to have to enter into a binding contract like John Cena did. And then he basically breached contract by selling the car before the contractual period was up. I'm not going to go too crazy with the intros and stuff. Let's get right to it. So a lot of people were out there posting this picture, which I think is the dumbest shit because how the hell is that going to be a mid-engine Mustang? People are out there saying, this is it. I'm like, that is not mid-engine. Nothing in this picture says mid-engine. So if you want to actually do some reading and get off of Facebook, get off of Instagram, get off of it is more than likely going to look something like that than something like this. So let's do some reading for the dum-dums. Okay. So here we go. Ford to debut mid-engine Mustang this Thursday. Exclusive updated from FordAuthority.com. The Ford Mustang lineup has never been stronger, and as the recent motorsports push through special variants like the Mustang Dark Horse R has demonstrated, additionally, the Blue Oval clearly intends to push the boundaries. You mean Multimatic? The boundaries as to what the Mustang brand represents in the modern era. With the upcoming Ford Mustang Mach-E Rally, oh, you know what? I can't wait for that. The Mustang Mach-E Rally serving as evidence that the company won't let its treasured nameplate stagnate in one particular lane. Really? It doesn't let a Mustang name stagnate and made an SUV a Mustang. Later this week, the company is planning on essentially doubling down on that ethos with plans to debut the first ever mid-engine Mustang, according to sources familiar with the matter. This car was not made at a Dearborn plant. This car was not made by the UAW guys. This car is custom hand-built Billy Badass status to $300,000 plus. As a matter of fact, this upcoming mid-engine Mustang has already been shown to the select group of individuals in Las Vegas who got to see the vehicle yesterday, August 14, 2023. The public reveal will occur this Thursday at a special event in Pebble Beach, California. Sources say the vehicle will be built by Multimatic, and it'll be a Mustang branded vehicle. Again, guys, this car will not share, right here it says it does not utilize the S650 platform. So the guys on Facebook make me laugh, dude. Like, they just make me laugh. Right here, it says it. It's a Mustang branded vehicle. Remember the other day I said that Genesis split off from Hyundai, and now you have the Genesis G80, G60, G this, G that, and have a bunch of other variants. Well, that's what they're trying to do with Mustang. Mustang GT, Dark Horse R, Dark Horse S, Mach-E, Mach-E Rally, and now a mid-engine, hand-built supercar. I don't know who its competition would be, maybe the ZR1. Aside from the current crop of specialty Mustang products, Multimatic built the Ford GT and currently builds the Bronco DR, Dominican Republic. So that's what Multimatic builds. Stuff like that. The Blue Oval, for the Blue Oval, it is currently not clear if this Mustang branded product is based on the GT, but our sources say that the company essentially considers it to be a supercar. As a Ford authority had previously outlined, a mid-engine Mustang would add another Mustang branded vehicle to Multimatic's obligations to Ford and customers. The Ford Mustang GT3 and GT4 built by the company, as the relationship between Ford and Multimatic has expanded by a substantial margin in recent years. Demand for both vehicles has been higher than expected. Aside from a one-off concept vehicle created in the 60s, there's never been a mid-engine Mustang. Now, let's go into Multimatic. What does Multimatic do? This. Simple 2 or 3 Google clicks away. They work with Aston Martin, and they make, and if you go to their road going vehicles, you go to vehicles, you click that, and then you go to road vehicles. This is what they would build for Ford. A road variant, and mid-engine or rear-engine cars look like this. They don't look like that. This has the biggest front hood on the planet. If anything, it'll look like this, not like this, because Multimatic builds shit like this. You understand? And this is what Multimatic does. Hand-built, Billy Badass, super high-end cars. Again, nothing is here that tells me this is a Ford product except the engine and the transmission, potentially. But what they build is some pretty badass stuff. They built the Valkyrie and vehicles. The Valkyrie for Aston Martin looks super legit. Where is it? Here it is. Nope. So if you thought you were going to get the ability to buy a Mustang mid-engine Billy Badass car, you better not hold your breath. You better hope that you have pull at Ford. You better hope that you are a millionaire, because a mid-engine anything built by Multimatic is going to be ridiculous money. I'm talking starting over $100,000 easily. So a lot of people are like, okay, what? Now this show is going to be 100% speculation. I'm not going to say hi to nobody. I am not. You know who you are. What engine is it going to be? Is going to be in the car. Now remember when I said a while ago, I wouldn't be surprised if they used the pushrod V8 in something like that, a low run, low production, and I don't know what laws Multimatic has to navigate when it comes to miles per gallon, when it comes to emission standards, because if you're going to have a mid-engine Mustang with a nameplate built by Multimatic, it's got to make 800 horse and it's got to be twin turbo. Because what is the competition? The ZR1. Who are you going up against? The Z06 already proved that for about $100,000, you can go tens in a rear engine NA car. Rear engine mounted NA car. Now, the ZR1 is rumored to be over 800 horsepower, twin turbo, potentially a flat plane crank. So flat plane crank potentially, twin turbo, overhead cam situation. Ford has nothing for that. So they said, well, maybe we'll have Multimatic build something. So at least if you're a Ford loyalist, you have an option. So it'll be interesting if they actually use a pushrod V8 variant. But in my opinion, it would be silly. 1, the weight. 2, the performance. You would be silly to put a 6.8 or a 7.3 in a very lightweight car, pushrod situation. But depending on the laws that they can navigate, if it's a low enough number, they might be able to get away with something pushrod twin turbo that's going to make a buttload of power. But I don't know that that's going to happen. A lot of you out there look at the Ford GT and go, badass car. But how many of you think it's badass, but it should have had a V8? Right? I don't know how to feel about this either. That's a very good, this is perfect. Let me actually put the live chat here. Good overlay, copy, live chat. I don't know how to feel about this. 1, none of you guys will ever be able to afford it. It is a millionaire's car. Okay? It is not something for a guy that makes $55,000 a year. It's made by Multimatic. That is GT3 cars, 4GTs, super high-end stuff in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. This is just a name slap. This is, oh, Mustang? Slap the name on it. Like, would you have been mad if they slapped the name Mustang on what is the 4GT? No. But you all would have said, that's not a Mustang. Right? A lot of you would have said, I'm sorry, that's not a Mustang. That looks like a 4GT. So what does this thing have to look like for it to be a mid-engine competitor versus Italian stuff, versus the upcoming ZR1, versus super high-end supercar, Lamborghini, Ferrari, your McLaren? That is your competition. And again, this is millionaire stuff. This isn't a light-to-light bruiser. But if any car is going to have hybrid, twin-turbo, all-wheel drive stuff, it should be that. Again, guys, it shares no lineage with the Mustang that you and I have come to love. I can't see a 60s Mustang that morphed into a mid-70s Mustang 2, that morphed into a Fox body, that morphed into a 2-valve, 3-valve, Cobra-style piece of junk, and what you currently know, S550, S650, and then look at a rear-engine car and go, oh, I could totally see the lineage of this vehicle end up in that configuration. They're now slowly stemming off and making a name off to the side called Mustang. So now Mustang will have submodels. Mustang GT, Dark Horse S, Dark Horse R, this rear engine situation, and the Mach-E and the Mach-E Rally. That's what they're doing. You're going to eventually see a Mustang store, a Mustang section. They might make a different SUV a Mustang. And you guys are going to go, so Mustang is now a brand, not necessarily what you know and have come to love of what a Mustang is. So what do you think it's going to be? If they decide to put a pushrod in there, I would not be surprised, because it is not a production vehicle made at a UAW plant. Those will always have, in my opinion, a Coyote variant. It would be very smart if they twin turboed a Coyote with the current Gen 4 block, Coyote block, and made upwards of 800 horsepower. Pump gas. But I don't know if it'll happen. I think you're more likely to get big horsepower numbers and pump gas if you have the cubic inches, aka big pushrod stuff. But I think that's crazy because it's heavier than the Coyote. We'll talk about it. We'll see what the deal is. What do you think it's going to be? I know a lot of other YouTubers are out there putting, this is it. And I'm like, you're just clickbaiting people. Do some reading. Do a couple of clicks of shit that's going on out there, and you'll see what the deal is. Let's say I had some people real quick. Jay Walker says, keep dreaming to gray Mustang. Says, if it comes with a 5.0, it weighs under 3,300 pounds and less than $150,000, I'm going to try to get it. Gray Mustang, you think a mid-engine anything made by Multimatic is going to be under $150,000? You really think anything with a how much is a Ford GT right now? Ford GT price. $1.2 million. That's right. Go to Car Gurus, and if you want to buy a used Ford GT, it's $1 million. And when new, $500,000. So you think Multimatic is going to make a everyman's, everyday, blue collar dude's mid-engine Mustang? Bro, stop it. Godzilla engine, Shmi and Stankload will be the first in line for this car. They will be, because they have to. Look, have you guys noticed their channels? Have you guys noticed how the views are way down? 30%. Cletus's channel, Stang modes, all that stuff, they are stale. This is why. Their brand is beholden to what the new stuff was. Cletus's channel for a while was LS shit. Then it became goofy shit. Then it became boat shit. Then it became, so their channels are tanking. And I've seen them. Like, if you have 3 or 4 million subs and your videos after 2 months barely have 600,000 views, there's a problem. People are either growing up and growing away from that stuff because they want to see actual car stuff, or they've been tied up to a company like Stank Mode does to Ford and others. The way Ford goes, you go. And if Ford is tanking and stock is tanking, you're hoping that this car is going to save maybe your channel. But the problem is this. You got to be relatable. And if Ford allows Multimatic to use the name Mustang on a supercar that's going to be over $200,000, how the hell is anybody going to be able to relate to something like that. The Ford was the blue collar guy's thing. The Mustang's competition was the Camaro. Then that went away. Chargers and Challengers were in a different league because they're heavy, big, dumb bruisers that only are decent at sideshows or when you have 10,000 pounds of glue on the ground. Now this is going to be a competitor to ZR1 and McLaren's? Come on. Like, I think it's cool as a vehicle, but I don't think Ford should do a what do you call it, a victory lap because of this situation. If someone can afford Porsches and Lamborghinis and Ferraris, why would they want a car named Mustang? Exactly. How many of you go to Cars and Coffee and see a Ford GT and go, you think it's beautiful, right? You and I all think it is beautiful. Man, nice car, man. Thanks. Nobody goes, oh, shit, son. A Ford GT. Oh! No, they go, nice car. Really nice car. Then you see them in an RX-2 and people surround an RX-2. What supercar makes you turn your head? Not a Lambo, not a Ferrari. Supercars that turn my head, specifically here. Believe it or not, they're not supercars. They're very, very highly optioned like Mercedes. Like, there's a lot of these cars around. I forget what they're called. Is it this one? Yeah. Oh, my Lord. Bro. Okay. Call me a hum all you want. I don't care. I literally don't care. Because I live in a very well-to-do area, when I see these things, oh, come on. This is a toy replica. I want to see the actual car. Let me see if I have it here. Usually it's Mercedes shit that makes me go, whoosh, whoosh. What is it called? The GT3? GT3? Is it called the GT3? I'm looking so I can get you guys. There we go. I need an actual picture of the motherfucker though. Why is it always just toys? Why don't they show me the fucking car? I guess I don't even know the name of the car. That's the problem. I'm just stalling here. Okay, I'm gonna show you a fucking toy apparently because it's like a poster of a vehicle. So when I see this, I go, holy shit. Okay, cool. Like if a Ford GT comes up and then this rolls in behind it, I'm looking at this. I'm looking at a Gen 5 Viper going badass. Right? Like if you see an ACR Viper, you go, Billy badass. If you look at a Ford GT, nothing against it. I think it's badass, but it doesn't give you that same visceral reaction a Viper does. Even a McLaren, I go, One, I can't relate to it. I literally cannot relate to it. And relatability is going to be a big draw because you shoved the name Mustang on it. So now this is going to be a problem. I own a Mustang. What the fuck is it? A Fox body? An S550? S650? A Mach-E? A Mach-E Rally? Or this new up-and-coming rear engine thing? And that's the problem. It used to be one thing. Mustang used to be one thing. Imagine saying, I own a Camaro. Really? A ZL1? An SS? A Z28? No, the minivan. The Camaro minivan? That's a thing? Yeah. Now soccer moms are going to be able to say, I love Mustangs. That's why I have my Mach-E. And most Fox body guys with Slayer shirts and Newports rolled up in their sleeves with skullets are going to go, shut the fuck up, lady. Stupid bitch. It's not a Mustang. So this is the watering down, the beginning of the watering down of the name. They are just slapping names on shit now that has nothing to do with Ford itself. Multimatic is a Billy badass company. But now they're just saying, build a Mustang, call it the Mustang GTD, whatever the fuck it is, and we'll just sell it as a supercar. Stop it. The Mach-E was just the beginning. AMG Black Series, $350,000+. Rami Zaidan, ¿qué pasa, bicho? Alex, do you hate Terminators? Yes. Where the fuck's he been? Look up Mercedes 1. Okay, Mercedes 1. Mercedes 1. Again, it doesn't... Look up Mercedes. Oh, jeez. Okay, so this is what this is what come on. If you're a supercar guy, if you're a, let's just say a millionaire, you're going to buy this. You're going to buy this ridiculous Formula One style, which again, you can't really buy, right? Like you can't really buy this. Can you buy this? Or is it such a low production run that only like F1 drivers can actually swing this motherfucker? So this is what Multimatic is up against. Like McLaren's, like Lambo, ZR1 rear engine, twin turbo stuff, or a Mustang. I'm sorry, if I'm a millionaire and if I'm rolling in it, do you really think I'm going to buy the Multimatic? Like the Ford GT was hot for like maybe 6 months. You guys saw all these channels. Remember Drag Times? He's local to me. I guess he lives in Boca or somewhere in Broward or maybe Lower Palm Beach County. So all he does is fuck with super high-end cars. And the car that's the most relatable in my estimation on his channel was either the Plaid Tesla or whatchamacallit, the ZR, like a Stingray. I'm sorry, the E-Ray or a Z06, something lower end, not Ferrari. People don't care about his Ferraris. They look at them, they go, cool. The McLaren's cool. Bro, you're $300,000. Relatability's gone out the window. So people like me don't even look. That's why you see a lot of these guys building a Grand National, like a Billy Badass with an aftermarket chassis, aftermarket big inch wheels, 20 by 11s in the front, 20 by 12s in the back, with a big LS or LT making over 1,000 horsepower and just bruising shit up. People go, badass. A little lightweight mid-engine car, while extremely capable and fast around the ring, who are you focusing in on? Who is your Ford? Answer this question. What's the key demo for this vehicle? What is the demographics you are actually chasing with this vehicle? Is it 25 to 32-year-olds? Or is it 55-year-old boomers and up that have the money to buy this thing? So the Ford GT, when I look at it at Cars and Coffee, I go, badass car, really cool, I don't care. Yeah, okay, that's a good one. Celine S7. So Celine, for a while, before they were actually, I don't know what the hell he was doing, gambling with his money, the S7 was one of those cars that you thought of, and this is a similar concept. In 2006, Celine was actually made the S7, which is a 351-based, 400-plus cubic inch supercar that he made on his own. And this was, I thought, the way Ford was going to go. In 2006, when this thing was out there doing its thing, people were like excited of the future of where Ford could go. But Celine either, I don't know what he did with his money, either he snorted it all, or I don't know what the hell, but this is a badass. This was a badass car. And they're still out there. Some guy was supposed to build a all-wheel drive version of this on one of the channels, but I don't know whatever happened to that car. But this is a big inch, small block Ford, powered, built from the bottom up, supercar. Is it one of those vehicles you lust after? Absolutely. Is it relatable? No. No. How much was this when new? The average price of a Celine S7 is $731,000. This is just so ridiculous. And now they're selling used for $1 million. Again, oh, bro, come on. You got to detail that shit, son. What are you doing? I mean, unfortunately, the new up-and-coming Mustang is going to have Celine S7 vibes. And if they do a big inch push rod, you're going to go, so a Celine S7. So $250,000. Guys, think about it. How much is a GT? How much is a 2024 GT? $50,000. 50. Okay, they say 38, bullshit. Dealers are gonna bottom out on your butthole with it. Hey, MSRP is $38,900, but market adjustment of $12,000. So it's a $50,000 base GT. If you want the new shit, you're gonna have to pay dealer markup. So how much do you think this rear engine? I can't wait. And when is it gonna be produced? Like, are there already a couple of them out there? Does Multimatic have 10 of them done and made to give to people to test? Or are they going to unveil a prototype, give you specs on it, and then 3 years later build it? I've been getting a bunch of ads to invest in Celine on Instagram. It's ridiculous. Word is that Celine is 351 C3 heads when it came out. Could have had D3 heads, slim chance. S7 was badass. Everyone was in on the S7. It'll flop for sure if they do. Hennessy Mustang is going to be sick. Right, exactly. Putting an EcoBoost engine in the mid-engine Mustang would be such a bad move. I don't know what they're going to do. I've had some expensive cars, but I can't spend $1 million on a car. And Jay fancies himself a well-to-do guy. He's had Porsches. He's had a couple of Mustangs. Now he's a BMW total homo, burble-popping douchebag. And even he would probably look at a Mustang, Multimatic built car, and go, well, it could be an investment. And this is why I think it'll do well. This is why I think it'll sell. It's an investment. It's a low run. You can't lose money on this. Like, if you had, how much were Viper ACRs when they came out back in the day? $130,000? Now you could double or triple your money on a Viper ACR. Demons, you're not going to lose money on Demons. GT500s, I'm not so sure about yet, but the market seems to be pretty flat, not necessarily, meaning prices. They're not dropping. So the GT500 might retain its value. This is a sure thing. That's why people were so crazy to buy a 4GT back in 2015, 2016. They were like, I need to apply to buy this thing because if I can get it for $400,000, I will pony up that money until the contract is over and then I can double my money. It's like buying a home, flipping it after a couple of years. What louvers do you recommend on my 90 Mustang V6? Shut up. What's up from LA? Angel Casillas, what's up, brother? There was an EcoBoost S650 for $40,000 here. The Mustang GTD will more than likely be a front mid-engine layout with a road legal version of a 5.4 GT3 engine. Multimatic has built cars with that layout recently. Really? A front mid-engine layout with a road legal, but they said rear engine. Not mid-engine. Or maybe you're right. Maybe mid-engine is closer to the a cabin or driver area than rear engine like Porsche does. It'll sell, hang out in collections, and rarely see roads. That's exactly where it'll be. And the 4GT, when you actually make it perform, it's badass. The 3-point, but it sounds like, it just doesn't have the attitude. And I know what you're going to say, it doesn't matter, it performs. It does. It stops, it accelerates, and it performs great just standing still. But the moment you turn it on and it sounds like fart, you go, I don't think I want this. Imagine you've never seen a 4GT. And you go to Cars and Coffee. And there's a McLaren with an aftermarket exhaust, Porsche aftermarket exhaust, and a Lambo with an aftermarket exhaust, and a 4GT with an aftermarket exhaust. All the other cars are going to start and sound nasty. Like, holy shit, that's, wow, like stupid. Then, hey, they're going to start the 4GT. Go over there. Okay. Wait, it's coming off a cold start. And you're going to be like, how much is that car? You're like, oh, it's like $1.2 million. You're like, I like the Lambos better. They just sound good. It's a 5.5 all-wheel drive EcoBoost, makes 800 horsepower, according to multiple people who were at the dealer-only event. 5.5 liter all-wheel drive. So a punched-out Coyote? Like, what is the 5.5? And again, are they able to get around emissions laws because of the low production output that they're going to have? I don't know. So if it's a 5.5 liter Coyote, oh, hell yeah. Let's get that in. Let's get some of that. None of that is going to bleed down. How many Multimatic built Ford GT technology made it to the streets. Like, how much of that technology made it to your GT Mustang? See, now you don't even know what the hell to call your shit anymore. Now you're going to have to make that distinction. Wait, you're saying a punched out 3.5? No, you're saying SoCal Canyon Experiment that they're going to punch out 2 whole liters off of a V6? Stop it. Cold fart. Yeah, you got to get off of cold fart. Cold fart? Yeah, that's what you call the EcoBoost startup. Cold fart. Voodoo. Not a Voodoo. Voodoo's gone. Voodoo's extinct. Unless you mean a 5.2 Predator cross-plane crank, twin turbo, punched out a little bit. So a 5.4 Predator block like a GT500, that'd be badass. Is that going to bleed down to the market? No, Multimatic does not make stuff that ends up in the streets like you and me. It's $1 million supercar shit. The Parts Farm will get one. Came into fart noises. Sounds about right when talking about Ford News. I mean, you're not wrong. Look, we all know, and we all know what this could be. It could be pretty awesome. But based on Ford's and again, it's out of Ford's hands. Ford probably said, number one, take that Elon Musk. Number one.
Take that Elon Musk.
They said, okay, we'll provide the drivetrain. We'll provide the engine. We'll provide the trans. You do everything else. So what exactly is Ford about this? How is this different than a backdraft Cobra? How is this different than a Factory 5 style? Doesn't Factory 5... Let's look at what Factory 5 does. Let's go to Factory 5 Racing, okay? So, of course, I am not equating Multimatic to Factory 5. That would be super fucked up. But let's just spitball for a second. So, if Ford entered into a partnership with Factory 5 and said, I want y'all to build this, and we're going to give you a 5.4 liter Predator overboard engine. You make the transaxle and make it work. And, we want this to be a low production run. Well, how is that any different than what they're doing with Multimatic? And again, this is a kit car, completely different, but we're just spitballing here. So if Ford would have reached out to Factory 5 and says, look, I love this engine layout. I think it's badass. We're going to provide the motor and transaxle. You do everything else. So how would that be any different? Would you look at that and say, this is a Ford product? If Ford entered into a partnership with a company that did everything except make the motor and transaxle, and everything else is made from this company. This is badass, dude. Oh, come on. Stop it. It wasn't even turned on, Carlito. Oh, you got to stop this. Stop this. Oh, where's Backdraft? Backdraft? Backdraft. Stop. It's not the movie. Backdraft Cobra. Backdraft Racing, custom roadster replicas. Right. What if they entered into a partnership with this and said, we're going to make a low production run. You have the kiss of Ford because you have the ability to, you have carb EO shit and you can actually get around stuff. Oh, my Lord. Stop it. What? Oh, come on. Stop. Oh, Jesus. I'm going to come. Oh, dude, stop. Galleries. Let's look at galleries. Oh, fuck. Come on. Stop it. Oh, bro. Stop. You need to stop this. Okay, so again, cool in theory, but when it comes to application, is it really a Ford product? The Factory 5 mid-engine Vet twin turbo, pretty crazy. I got to ride in one. As long as it's a production vehicle, I think it's badass image for the Mustang brand. None of us will be able to afford one, but it doesn't matter. You're right. But Alex, do you know what the original AC motor? Shut the fuck up. Bro, 60 more days till my Circle deconverter ships. I'm dying. I want to drive my car so bad. Super performance with the 5.2. So we're not going to be able to afford one. It's going to be mid-engine. It's going to be built by Multimatic. It's going to be worth $500,000 in 5 years. Are you excited? Like, I wasn't excited for the Ford GT. I said, badass car. I'm never going to be able to even drive in one, let alone afford one. Like, I don't, I'm like at the cusp of being able to afford a really well-built backdraft Cobra. If I sell all my vehicles and I can buy one cash, sure, but I just don't think I'll do that. How about what Johnny Bomber did with the 406 GT World's Who cares, bro? Who gives a shit? God, people think that fucking matters. Who gives a shit? Oh my God. I'll be excited if a modular bell housing and mid-engine style transaxle. Now that's the other thing. Ford has been pretty good about selling driveline stuff. So let's say, for instance, a 5.4 liter EcoBoost, meaning twin turbo, transaxle situation, like a control pack, meaning a drivetrain. What do you call it? A power. I forget. They call it a power something, a power module or something like that. I think that'd be cool. I think that'd be pretty cool. If somebody actually says, why don't we make this something available to the general public so they can stuff it in like a factory 5 car? But the problem is then that'll screw Multimatic, right? Like if Multimatic is like, no, don't sell the power module to the public, because now why would people buy the Multimatic Mustang if they can build their factory 5 version with the same drivetrain and cheaper? Emphasis on EcoBeast. Have you ever heard of anything about a possible 2025 Cobra? Yeah. I'm hearing that there's potentially a Boss return and a GT500 send-off. This, I think, is just, again, similar to the 4GT. They wanted to start saying how they're pushing the envelope. None of this stuff ends up in the street stuff. None of this stuff ends up in the hands of the blue-collar, you and me, light-to-light bruiser types. I've always said that a twin-turbo, all-wheel drive Mustang with a hybrid drive powering the front wheels, a la the Stingray, the E-Ray, I thought would be great. The E-Ray's there. Why would I even think about buying a Mustang? Let's say I got $100,000 to spend on a really high-end toy, and I wanted a light-to-light bruiser, still be ICE, all-wheel drive, hybrid. I can't afford a Mercedes version of that. I can't afford a McLaren version of that. I sure as fuck can afford a Corvette version of that. Watsy stick a 6.8, so all the guys who said, did you hear about the 6.8 liter Mustang, get vindicated. That's the only way, in my opinion, a pushrod V8 ends up in a Mustang. In something like that. Low production, emissions isn't really a thing, because if you make a certain amount, I think you have certain exemptions. You know what I'm saying? I'm not 100% sure about that, but new vehicles have certain exemptions. And if you are able to stuff a smaller pushrod V8, smaller than 7.3 liters, I'm sorry. If I'm buying a supercar, it better not have a pushrod V8. I love you. If Alejandro Flores and most supercar guys that love that high revving 8200 RPM crazy squeal of a exotic engine, they're not going to buy a Multimatic Mustang with a Ryder U-Haul Winnebago engine in the back. I'm sorry, they're not. And if they are, they're psycho. Imagine you go to Cars and Coffee, and the same engine that's in a U-Haul truck and a Winnebago is in your Multimatic supercar. Crazy shit. If that's a push-rod mid-engine car, it's going to get stomped by the class. Ford should have brought back the Shelby Cobra and Shelby Daytona for a last run before they go. Again, Shelby made those. Okay, Shelby made those. It wasn't necessarily Ford. Again, Shelby made those.
The best vehicle I ever owned was an automatic 65 twin supercharged Cobra. I could stroke your dick while going 200 miles per hour. No problem.
Yo! So I don't think that's something that, unless you bring him back from the dead and dig up his bones and say, Mr. Shelby, Mr. Shelby, what do you think about bringing back the Cobra nameplate? What do you think about that?
You know what else I was blowing off in the weeds? Your dad.
I mean, maybe once you've been dead a little while, you know, your thought process kind of messes everything up. But if they bring him back from the dead and make him sign more dashes and make him make more Cobras, that'd be pretty fucked up. Just let him rest in peace already.
I can go for tall glass of Mexican dick right now.
Cal Shelby is wild. It's just the wildest motherfucker ever. Put a NASCAR engine in it, Alex. Shelby's dead. He can't make anything in his grave. Alex, I never thought I would buy a V6 EcoBoost in a supercar either. Alex, I never thought they would buy a V6 EcoBoost in a supercar either. No, Kellen Stocks. That was an investment. The Ford GT, the fact that they brought that back for a year or two, was a surefire winner in terms of finances. Nobody looked at a Ford GT and go, I'm going to road race this thing. Nobody bought. Do you think anyone that is going to buy a $250,000 car is going to road race it? That's why I kind of like had to catch myself and go, wait a minute. If I'm going to buy a $130,000 Viper, do you think I'm going to actually put it up against Miatas and BMWs at a track and potentially scratch it up and shit? That's stupid. Why don't you just get some piece of junk and, why a Viper? The reason I want a Viper or wanted a Viper, it's because it's 600 horsepower, naturally aspirated, front engine, rear wheel drive, Billy Badass. And it's a surefire winner. It will never lose value unless I do something so that it loses value, like crash it or something. And then I thought to myself, I don't care about this shit. I'll just buy the ZR1 and have a good time. I don't think the ZR1 is ever going to be in a similar league unless something else changes. Like if my ZR1 that has 53,000 miles somehow is worth over $65,000 as is, sold. Zero emotional attachment. $65,000 for my ZR1, boop. I'll give you the Ford stars and the stock wheels. Get it out of my life. Have fun. Not a problem. When they knew the Shelby died, they could do whatever they wanted to do to the Mustang. I am firm, I believe, around that. I bet only cost Ford $90,000 to build Ford GT. Hilarious to see a GT in the local Ford dealership with the info book next to it stating they cannot be sold for a year. False value. That's what I mean. They will buy a 6.8 liter Mustang supercar for the investment. Okay, I get that. I see what you're saying, Kellen. You're not wrong. I don't think they care what engine is in it, because the people that care what engine is in it is you and me. You and I are the people that care what engine comes in this new supposed mid-engine Mustang. And I don't know why we care, because we're never going to be able to afford it. It's like saying that the new ZR1, that I can't wait for the new ZR1. I don't have $250,000. I don't have $200,000. Spend on a car. Stop. Working late, left a like, watch later. Yes, 4J. Alex, I need some advice. It's Tone 2 SS. Let me. The tree fell and totaled both of my Camaros. I haven't gotten a real number yet, but thinking about $60,000. What should I get? And I would like to stay Chevy, but I'm open to anything. Based on what Alec Bledsoe has been doing with his stuff, you can get into a very well-used ZR1 or a ZL1 Camaro. Get into one of those things. 1.9 liter blower, manual. They come manual if you want to do 6R80 stuff. 10R80 stuff. The road racing stuff is, desirable, but I don't know shit about Camaros enough to go stick with Chevy. Get this: $60,000. You can have $60,000 cash to spend. What do you want to do? You want to road race? You want to drag race? You want a fast street car? There's a lot of ways you can go about spending $60,000. Better be working 20 hours a day at Pancake House to afford that, Turby. Wow. Alex Emery cares about performance. Right. At the end of the day, thank you, Mike, for becoming a Beacho level member. Look, that's the best way to support the channel. Become a member. Here we want to know performance. And if a Ford GT with a 3.5 twin turbo situation, over $200,000 to $500,000 or whatever hell it is, runs a 10-second quarter mile, my dick don't get hard for that. It doesn't get hard for that. I go badass. Like the guy from Drag Times, he would actually, do some cone stuff, parking lot cone stuff and some road track stuff. It was yellow, fucking worst color ever. And, no one cared. Like no one looked at that car and thought, this thing is so badass. If you are hedging your bets on a car to make you popular, those days are over. If you want to go retro, old school, you might be able to do that. People like Scrap Life Garage and other channels that showcase old muscle, old ZR1s, Grand Nationals, bringing back dead stuff. Celine, in my opinion, a Celine S351 from 1999. If someone got their hands on it and actually showed what it can perform, it would probably do just as well as if you bought yourself a brand new supercar that you could not mod. I guarantee it. If you're hedging your bets on a car making your channel popular, how many of you know someone that thought that their GT500 was going to springboard them into stardom? I'm going to get 1 million views. No, you're not. People maxed out their credit card. People traded in cars that are vetted, and tried to get a GT500 2020 version to make their channel pop, and only to have a $1,500 a month car payment, and your views went up by maybe 1,500, and you're like, nothing happened. And again, you can't work on it. You're not showing anything. You're just saying, look at what I got. Look how fast it goes. You're not upgrading it yourself. You're not doing anything yourself. In my opinion, it's the weirdest thing to do, to try to become popular based on a car that you have, as opposed to what you know and what you can do to modify any vehicle to make it fast. I'm definitely saying fast street car. Yeah, a ZL1 1LE is an excellent car to get into right now. Exactly. A ZL1 1LE is probably what you should get into, because you're not going to lose on it. That's one of those cars you're not going to lose on. They stopped making them. So now you have a vehicle that they stopped making, which does nothing but bring its value up. Something to think about also. Do they think they build a Mustang to trump the Ford Get or sit below it? You mean the GT? Ford GT. Something to think about also. Do you think they will build the okay, now, let's say you're a Ford GT owner. That's a good point. Let's say you're a Ford GT owner. Let's say you still own one. Let's say you're holding on to it because it's the last one ever to be made. Then Ford announces another Multimatic venture and puts a brand new style rear engine vehicle out there with the Ford badge on it. How much is your Ford GT worth if there is a brand new, more powerful version of it on the horizon? Did you think that you're going to hold on to your Ford GT? Well, it's a Ford GT. It's totally different. I don't know about that. If Ford stuffs a Predator engine, punched out twin turbo, all-wheel drive, mid-engine situation to compete up against the Ford GT that is not made anymore, how much is the one in your garage going to lose value? Like, the one in your garage right now is going to lose value if a V8 version of that is made. That's going to be interesting. Woof, I never even thought about that angle. The Multimatic is potentially going to just hose Ford GT owners if this up-and-coming Mustang is a better, more powerful, better refined version. I don't think that'll happen, though. I think the Ford GT was like super one-off crazy. What do you want, buddy? You're being weird. You're being fucking weird. By the way, I want to thank Parts Farm. Parts Farm did a brother a solid. I'll talk about the sponsors, who's 2 Hour Solutions, Parts Farm, DNA High Performance, Race Motive, Conk Performance, Calumet Transmission, PMAS, and Ultimate Header. They got me a shift center thing with the cup holder situation. Bro, I just said, you guys got one of these around with a good boot? Bam! Showed up at my door, wrapped really nicely. Thank you, Rob, and the people at Parts Farm. I'll be putting that in the GT500. If Ford puts a V8, it'll go down. If Ford puts an EcoBoost, it'll stay the same. Mustang Mach 1s are going to drop in price when the Dark Horse hits the street. True. That's very good point also, Garage Build Coyote. Which is good for someone like me. The Dark Horse is going to get a lot of the Johnny come latelys, the ones that want to stay current. Like Derek Barron's fucked. I love you, Derek, but your Mach 1 that you probably paid $50,000+ for is not going to be worth $35,000 once the Dark Horse come out. And his shit was hit. So now it's a crashed Mach 1. That's right. It's a crashed Mach 1. Your car's value is going to tank. But I still think the Mach 1 is a really good looking car. But if Ford keeps coming up with similar vehicles to compete against older vehicles, they're just going to lose value. Kind of like Dodge did with the Durango Hellcat. Now 2021 owners are trying to get class action lawsuit. It's not going to go anywhere. We don't want to blow that much money on someone to see Pookie sliding in an intersection. Alex, a used Tesla Model S Plaid is now sub $80,000. Evil 04 SVT Cobra. Send me links. Where? Dropping like starting from the beginning. The current GT may not lose value. The 04 GT didn't lose anyone. The 16 can't out. Elver, the 16 GT was not the same vehicle. It was a road race monster. The Ford GT was a road race monster. The Ford GT from 05 or whatever it was with the 5.4 V8 was a straight line car. There's nothing performance in terms of stopping and turning. That car is a straight line car that makes a whole bunch of noise. So it didn't lose value because it was a completely different vehicle. Yes, the engine layout was the same, but the usefulness was totally different. Parts are hooked the brother up in my 94 as well. Getting harder to find parts for that car. Mach 1s are already dropping hard around here. Took your advice. My Gen 1 should be here any day from the parts farm. Badass. I got a strange feeling that the mid-engine Mustang might have that Megazilla in it if there's a chance the car isn't a hybrid. If Ford tells Multimatic, here's a 600 naturally aspirated horsepower Megazilla in a rear engine car, I'm going to laugh. Guys, this show, it's going to be the funniest fucking thing ever. Off topic. The new recall in some 2023 Mavericks has a missing wire for trailer harness system. Mavericks and Mach-E's has too much wires. Would be nice if it was a hybrid like an E-Ray. That's what I'm saying. Look. You're telling me that a rear engine Multimatic built variant of a Mustang is going to be built while this is out there. You can make fun of me all you want. You could say Corvette. You could say New Balances. You can say whatever. But you're telling me currently out in the market, this thing is now available. $116,000 as shown. All-wheel drive, hybrid, V8, and potentially tunable via Global B. Why would I think about anything that Ford is putting out there with Multimatic, a company that is, I don't want to say they're not good. They built race cars, but this is from GM. This is from the horse's mouth. This is not from an aftermarket company like Celine, like Multimatic, like Backdraft, like anybody. This is built by Chevy. So I'm kind of blown away that if you want all-wheel drive performance and a V8, it's already out there. I get it. If you're a brand loyalist, you go, yeah, fuck the Corvette. That's for guys with New Balances. What the fuck do you think this Mustang's going to be? You think it's going to be for like Joe Schmo, blue collar guy? Fuck no. Like not even close. Stop it. I don't think I'll sell my GT. The performance, sound, interior, and looks is perfect for me. Ford is flaying around like a fish out of water, trying to recreate the GT350, but it will not commit to one car. They keep remaking it over and over, calling it the Bullet, calling it the Mach 1, and calling it the Dark Horse. Alfredo Diaz, I think after they stopped making the Ford GT3, the GT350, I think the allure of Billy Badass Mustangs started to go away. I still think the GT350, especially a 2019 to 2020, is an insanely badass car. Probably one of the more well-built, well-rounded triathletes out there. I have no idea why people are sleeping on 2019, 2020 GT350s. They're lusting after new GTs, they're lusting after Mach 1s, and they're sleeping on the 19 and 20 GT350. Stop it. If the parts farm is watching, there's a 17 2SS 50 anniversary with headers and a 10. Who cares? Man, the E-Ray is sexy. I like it. Look, I like it. Look, every single time I look at the E-Ray stuff, I like it. Okay, I get it. You guys are probably like, no, this is stupid, whatever. If I'm going to get one, that's the one to get. That's the one to get. The all-wheel drive, hybrid technology, potentially tunable, that's the one I'd get. I'd get the 3LZ. Leather, like the whole shit. $112,000. Bro, that is beautiful. I'm sorry. And a lot of you guys probably think it's played out. And it's got the wide body, so it doesn't look like a base Corvette. Call me crazy. If you're going to want a rear engine V8, Chevy already makes it. So I'm blown away that people would consider a Ford version. Because Chevy's already got it figured out. In terms of that. Now, the ZR1 is going to be interesting. The ZR1 supposedly is going to be over 800 horsepower, flat plane crank, overhead cam, twin turbo. Oh, I mean, really? That's what everybody wants. And what's the price point going to be? $175, $180, $200,000? And then markup? Stop it. Justice for the Voodoo Motor, exactly. I wonder Velocity Blue 2020 GT350. So many Ford nut huggers saying that the Mach 1 and Dark Horse will outperform the GT350. Not in any way, shape, or form. The GT350 is an 11-second stick car even if you miss 2 gears. The GT350 has phenomenal brakes. The GT350 is actually a pretty damn legit roll car. What I'm doing right now is tuning two CJ manifold equipped GT350s. Both are Billy Badass roll cars. And I can't wait to see what kind of times a naturally aspirated GT350 with a CJ setup goes. Because I've seen a lot of them race 10R80 equipped CJ cars and not just beat them, gap the ever living shit out of them. It is a completely different monster once you put a CJ manifold in a GT350 and tune it properly with the 85. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Hybrid over everything is literally the best of both worlds. I don't know why anyone would consider. Tell me what's the negative. Tell me what's the negative of having a all-wheel drive hybrid C8. I mean, it's a 10-second car on the street. On the street. I get it. It's no Plaid. Plaid is an electric car. You want the whole driving experience, DCT. It's got a DCT. It's got a hybrid motor, a battery. It's got hybrid technology, all-wheel drive, wide body for $100,000. And if you're able to tune it, meaning let's say you stuff a Magnuson 2650 in it, or a 2.3. Little 2.3 makes about 8 pounds of boost, so that the total output of the vehicle is 800 or so horsepower. Let's say 850 horsepower. 650 at the gas engine, 200 at the front. That is a 9-second street car on street tires. On the street. All day. All day. GT350 is the car. Was in an argument with a guy, and it was trying to say that they'll be able to put the Gen 4 Coyote manifold on a Gen 3, and said they would have to make a monoblade for it. Okay, I get that. You're not going to puke, are you? You're weird. Tony's acting weird. 9,000 RPMs all day. The 3160's gearing helps too, absolutely. Cost of battery replacement. Who thinks about that? Oh, you're saying the negative? Okay, maybe. The cost of it, but the battery is not integrated into the chassis like a Tesla is. The battery on a E-Ray is in the center console. If you look at the, let's go back. Let's get out of here. Let me go back. Let me go back to the illustration, and it shows you the battery. Here it is. Okay, here we go. So display capture. So how much is, a battery? Probably thousands of dollars. It's probably under warranty. The battery is on the smaller side. Let me see if they show the battery anywhere. E-Ray. Show the this stupid animation. Just show where the battery is, bro. It's in the center console basically, and it powers the front wheels. And you can actually creep around in it all nice and quiet, for under 15 miles an hour, and then the motor starts up. Updates on specs. Let's go specs. Anytime now. Specs. Electric drive unit. Here we go. Dude, stop. Fuck my location. What the fuck are you doing, dude? Oh my God. Compare. Specs, electric. There we go. Okay, right there. So there's the battery right there. There's the battery. It's just this center thing here. Why did it do that? Hello, battery. Here you go, battery. There you go. There's the battery. So, I mean, it's not integrated into the chassis. Basically, you have a front diff, and you got a battery right here, and you see all these bolts right here? So, maybe the cost of the actual battery, but the size of the battery, a lot of people complained about because it's not big enough, and I get that, but it's hybrid. It's not meant to, solely drive on the stuff, but it has 160 horsepower, basically, at this battery that powers the front wheels. So a combined power output of 655 horsepower. If you're able to shove a 2.3 liter blower on it with the DCT stuff, that's a potential 9-second car. Call me crazy. That sounds pretty good to me, in my opinion. Downside is I have to wait for it to be made. I get that. I bet the E-Ray has great center of gravity. The battery on my 10 Escape Hybrid is about $5,000. Silent mode to pull up on the ops. Of course, Zimbabwe champion would say that. Any really good suggested manifold for the Gen 1 NA for the street? The stock one. What a question. The stock one. Any good suggested manifold for the Gen 1 NA for the street? The stock one. Stock one, 18, boss. This is 10-year-old shit. The aftermarket really hasn't scratched the surface of the C8 yet. Correct. The only thing you see anyone doing out there is putting twin turbo on shit and ghost cam and cam setups. Nobody cares. I want supercharger now on an E-Ray. So wait 2 years. Alex can wait 2 years, and if I'm able to put myself in a position of having a Billy Badass car so I can shove my New Balances on, you think it's going to be in a Ford? Do you think I'm going to buy a new Ford? I want hybrid. Tracks are closing. Tracks are mainly closing. I see a lot of people celebrate that 2 or 3 tracks opened up. Most of them are closing. So where are you going to have most of the fun? On the street. So why wouldn't you buy an all-wheel drive hybrid V8? Come on, stop it. What's the E-Ray running the quarter? Supposedly 1070s? Supposedly, same as a Z06. C8 transmission development is the biggest hurdle, correct. Hey, AJ, same thing as GT500. GT500 does not have access to the DCT. It is 2023. It has some access to some torque stuff and some gear ratio stuff, but full unfettered access to the DCT is not a thing on GT500. So I'm not really worried about the C8 stuff. Keep that bitch on warranty, do my thing, have some fun, whatever. Can't wait to see what rear slick tires and front drag radials E-Ray goes down the track. I don't think that's going to happen at all, Paul. It's going to be like the Tesla. The Tesla's traction control system is so advanced that it doesn't really gain performance unless there's an issue with grip. A heavy Tesla Model S Plaid doesn't run any quicker with slicks on it on a prepped surface than with the regular street tire. The E-Ray is probably going to do something different. There's some crazy biasing going on that if it feels it's gripping super hardcore, it might actually be a problem. Now, there is a Z06 in super low DA that went 990s. Super low DA. There's a Z06 already that went in the 9s. So if people embrace the hybrid technology, which I think they should, but they're afraid of it. See, the problem is cars technology nowadays is surpassing the ability of aftermarket tuners because people don't even want to touch electric. People just want to touch the ICE motor, the internal combustion engine. I just want to be able to add spark, add boost, tweak some things and be done with it. And meanwhile, there is a huge potential. There's a lot of potential being left on the table by not educating yourself on the electric side of these cars, the hybrid stuff. Ugh. If you can't put any kind of aftermarket blow on an E-Ray, it's game over. Correct. I don't even want it. Lingenfelter already has a 2650 for the C8. C8 Trans has access now, according to a twin turbo C8 guy I talked to 2 weekends ago. E-Ray is the ultimate ice cream getter. Hybrid tech is so expensive. You are not wrong. Okay, guys, I didn't want to make this an hour-and-a-half long thing, but let's recap. The new supposed Mustang that is going to be announced tomorrow is going to be built by the same people that build the Ford GT and some of Ford's GT3 race cars. So it is not going to be built at a Ford plant. It's going to be built by basically an aftermarket company that does Billy Badass road race stuff, and they're going to make a road legal GT3 basically rear engine situation. It would be really interesting to see the unveil. I'll be watching probably under anesthesia or getting out of it. And I'll be watching with you guys, and I'll give you my thoughts either on Instagram or on YouTube or Facebook. And we'll find out what it is together once we find out more information on this new supposed Mustang-named vehicle. Just like we said that Mustang is now making themselves a completely separate brand. Dark Horse, Mach-E Rally, and then this rear engine situation. Yesterday's Mustang is not today's Mustang. And they absolutely got it. Totally off topic. Bryson Witt says, if you don't mind real fast, the GT500 swings the ass to the left on launch, track, and street. What suspension do I need to get? I have no idea about suspension. All I have is Vikings. You got to get your panhard bar lined up. You got to get your, you got to make sure your pinion angle is set up properly. You got to get a big UPR upper and adjust that situation. You can't just shove Vikings in it and expect the car to go straight down the track. You have to get pinion angle situated. You got to have adjustable lowers and a big adjustable upper, get the proper panhard bar in alignment, and everything should fall into place. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you very much. We're going to be looking forward to this unveil tomorrow, so we'll talk about it on social media, and I'll try to get back on Sunday, depending on how I'm healing from the situation that I got to do tomorrow, and we'll be able to talk about this new supposed Mustang named rear engine vehicle being made by Multimatic. Have a good rest of your Wednesday. I'll see you guys depending on how I feel either Friday or Sunday. We'll see what happens. All right, guys, have a good rest of your night. I'll see you guys once we figure out what this mid-engine Mustang is going to be. See you guys later.